Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
He drops to throw. Trevor looks. Fires to the back of the end zone. That ball is caught for the touchdown. In the back of the end zone, Evan Ingram for the score. A 6-yard touchdown pass.
I'm talking, wow, what a throw.
Looking, fires, looks time to the end zone. That ball's going to be caught for the touchdown. Evan Ingram again. He's got 2 scores, and Jacksonville leads it by 2 scores. They hand it to Jackson, running right up the middle. He's into the end zone, touchdown. Jalen Jackson, a touchdown for Jacksonville, a 1-yard touchdown run. Fires toward the end zone. That ball is going to be caught for the touchdown in the right corner of the end zone. Elijah Cooks made the catch. A 13-yard touchdown from Jones to Cooks.
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and
Hold my pocket.
Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Tony just had my first shot of caffeine of the day.
Yeah.
Or sip of caffeine of the day. So I'm not like doing literal shots here, but I could, I suppose, if I wanted to. So we'll see where my energy level is in the first half hour of the show. I think it's going to be strong this morning. It's cut down day for your Jacksonville Jaguars. It is a Check the Tape Tuesday, so good morning, Jeff Lageman.
Morning.
How are you?
Doing great.
All right, fantastic.
The calm before the storm.
There's been a little bit of roiling seas so far for some of the guys whose names have gotten out with all that, but over 900 players going to get released across the National Football League today, so that is definitely the tsunami that is coming. Dylan Denmark, good morning.
Yes. Good morning, Michael.
You're representing very well, like your Duval Pride Worldwide shirt.
Yeah, shout out.
Shout out to Big Al.
Yeah.
Al Stewart, our man who made those shirts up for us. I got a box, like a half a box of them, that I've got to give out to the listening audience at some point. We'll get those distributed throughout the course of the year, a little piecemeal here and there. Also, today's the day for invitations to go out for our Jaguars Today fantasy leagues. If you haven't gotten one, that's okay. I've only sent the ones out to the people that I know are in, like Tony and Dylan. And
I got 3.
The returning champs. You did get 3. So did Tony. So did David Garrard. Logs, you're welcome to join us this year. I feel like it's a fruitless ask to see if you're interested in playing fantasy football.
No, I appreciate the offer, though.
Okay. Do you?
Yeah, I do. No, I do. I do. I actually enjoyed the fantasy football version that we had on
That was
game
good.
day.
We do that year-round on this show,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, where you can only take the one guy.
Yeah.
Every guy you take, you can only take him one time all year.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun, right?
Yeah.
You don't
It was fun.
Didn't have to go too deep.
We don't get the benefit of Tony not paying attention to anything.
That was the best part of it.
It was so good. Right? I'll take this guy that I've used 6 times.
He's inactive, by the way. He got hurt yesterday.
Yeah, right. Oh, well, whatever. I'll take. And then, whatever. He's Tony Baselli. What are you going to tell him? He's, as Brian Sexton has pointed out, I think the last 2 weeks, won't get off that segment on the pregame show without the last word.
No.
Baselli. At least he tries to every single week.
Good.
All right, Logs, let's start with Trevis Gibson. The Jags agreed to trade him to Seattle. I did see, I don't know if it was official, but I did see somebody reporting in Seattle that it was a 6th-round pick that they were going to give up. What do you think he would have been on the 53 if they had not found a trade partner for Trevis Gibson?
Yes.
How close, in your opinion, was it between Trevis Gibson, DJ Coleman, Miles Cole, or anybody else who's an up-and-comer?
Well, I think the guy that's shown himself has been Miles Cole. He's been the most impressive to me. DJ Coleman's just kind of been he's one of those guys I think you can probably put on practice squad, and if you need somebody at that position, you can elevate him.
So you think this is a Miles Cole move?
I think it's totally a Miles Cole move. He's an athletic rookie that really showed some things in the preseason, which, really surprised me. The first game that he played in, because in practice he was just kind of and then all of a sudden in the game he showed better than he did in practice, and that's always a really good sign for a player, and that he has the ability to elevate his game come game day. He's got all the measurables. If you look at him, he's big, he's long, he's tall, he's got extremely long arms. In fact, had a conversation with the general manager, Trent Baalke, last week, I think it was, and we were talking about Miles Cole specifically, and he said he's got the longest arms of any player that he's ever measured. I'm not saying he personally measured him, but, that where he's been a general manager and evaluating. And, when they measure a sleeve length, most of the time, like if they do it for like a dress shirt, for most people thinking of it, they do it from kind of the middle of your back and go across your shoulder down your arms. And, I'm like a 30, 38, but if you measure just the arm, it's probably like a 34 or 33 or something like that. He's like a 36 and a half. So when he presses out on guys, how you always want to have a long arm tackle. Well, long arm defensive ends also
same thing. Keep those hands off you.
Yeah, exactly.
Their arms aren't as long.
But it's not about the arms only. But he's athletic enough, and he's certainly big enough, and he's really shown some things that you're like, hey, look, here's a guy that we need to develop.
Yeah, Trent does love the measurables.
Sure.
I don't know if you saw the piece. Aiden Hutchinson last week said that the Jaguars literally told him. Now I don't know if he's using a little bit of hyperbole, but that they wouldn't draft him because his arms were an inch too short. That's what Hutchinson claimed. So
you never know.
You never know. There are teams that stick to certain measurable hallmarks.
Yeah. When you look at like a Mason Smith, and just really jumps out as how big he is.
Absolutely.
Miles Cole does the same thing, but at a different position. So, and I don't know if he's going to be great or not, but I think he's got a chance because he just has a lot of those boxes are checked that you want to have checked if a player has the ability to do good things.
Yeah, that Hutchinson thing certainly feels like an agent, somebody representing him has an idea of what the Jags are looking for in a player, and when he's wondering, why am I not going number one, the agent's
could
like,
be that.
Like that kind of thing, as opposed to the team sat down with Aiden Hutchinson and said, your arm is 1 inch too short. We just don't have a place for you here. Like, that doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense if you're trying to explain to a client why it may not be where Trayvon Walker wound up being. And if you're Aiden, take that as personal as you want, right? And if you use that as fuel for your whole career, cool. That's why you went two instead of one. Fine.
It worked out great for him.
Yeah.
He's almost a cult hero up there just because, he's kind of from that area. And, the Detroit Lions are getting back on top and people are excited about him. So good for him. Good for him.
All right, so let's wrap up this thought on the Trevis Gibson deal, right? If let's say Trevis Gibson had made this team, they didn't do this deal. In your mind, would he have been first guy off the bench? Was he the primary number one backup at defensive end?
I think he could have been, dependent upon the personnel. You got to remember that Eric Armstead is an edge player when they're in base downs. That's where they want to play him. They want to play him at defensive end and base down. So would he be the first off the bench? Not really, because Eric is the guy that's first up once he's healthy, which he's not yet. But he's going to be able to give you probably some limited reps there to start the season. So I would say that he would have been fourth, behind obviously Trayvon and Josh and then Eric.
Right, but those guys are all starters.
Right.
So I'm just talking about who is – they're obviously not always going to be on the field. But when you're going to the bench, Trayvon needs a couple of downs off, Josh Hines out, whomever. Was Trevis Gibson, in your opinion, that next man up in the pecking order?
He probably would have been that next guy, after, again, like Eric Armstead, because trust me, they're going to play Eric Armstead on some edge when they get even.
I don't doubt it. Yeah, we've expected that.
So I thought he was going to be the next guy off the bench, in the terms that you're talking about,
right.
Mike. I really thought that he was the next guy, and he did a pretty good job in the preseason. He's not a guy that you go, gosh, I can't believe we lost him. He's not one of those guys. He's one of those guys you're like, okay, you got a 6th-round pick for a free agent that didn't cost you anything to get him, and he didn't cost you any money, so not bad. You got a young player that you can develop with also some depth at tackle that you really like.
Yeah, I'm just going back to where Doug Peterson talked about, we want a wave of like 8 guys, right? So you're going to – whomever's coming off the bench is going to get a decent amount of reps in this defense, right? So how much does Yasir Abdullah factor into this,
a lot.
How he has played?
A lot. He's really found a home. And that, when I say the home, is that Sam, linebacker. Last year when he came in, the whole kind of thought process with him was, okay, look, he wanted to get a little bit bigger to play outside, to be an edge outside linebacker, and it didn't work for him. He gained too much weight. Now he's back into that comfort zone of being in the 230s, and he looks athletic, he looks fast, he looks strong, and he looks very comfortable playing the Sam linebacking position. But now all of a sudden, if you've noticed over the last couple games, they have these what we call spinner packages, which is a 3-down look, and then you've got Devin Lloyd and Yasir Abdullah standing up. So this is another package that they can do in ways that they can send blitzers, and Yasir Abdullah is going to be part of that package because he does have rush ability and he's an athletic player. So I really like what he's done, and I think, Mike, that definitely was a factor kind of as part of that, okay, who's going to rush the passer from the outside.
We'll get into some of the other guys that were let go, although most of the ones let go yesterday, I mean, Trevis Gibson was kind of the headliner in that trade. Today, Terrell Edmonds, we found out, is going to be let go. Does that surprise you at all?
No, it doesn't surprise me because there's a reason why he's kind of bounced around from team to team. And that, I like him. He plays hard. I think he's a strong character guy, but he doesn't have great speed. And as a safety, you want somebody that can play free and strong. The Jaguars like to move him back and forth a little bit, and he's got some limitations when it comes to the speed and the range. I think you're better off keeping more at the corner versus at the safety because you're expecting to get two guys back at some point at the safety position, which is Wingard, and also you're going to have the ability to get Trevis Gibson back once he comes off suspension.
Right, but for that first 6 weeks of the season, Daniel Thomas has been a little bit banged up right now. Are you concerned at all about the safety depth, or do you think there's a surprise, another player, another name that they're going to keep?
No, I don't think so. I think Antonio Johnson, Cisco, Daniel Thomas, and then let's not forget Darnell Savage can play safety also. And then also, there's a practice squad. You can have somebody there, whether that's a Braswell or
he's
or
getting
whoever.
let go.
Right.
Right. He could be on the practice squad, right? But who's somebody asked already today, if Savage is the starting nickel, who's his primary backup as of this moment? We don't know who else is going to get let go.
I think Jarian Jones is going to be the backup nickel.
Okay.
DeAndre Prince is, by the way, he's been looking really good. I don't think he's really a nickel because they're leaving him at corner. But there's some guys that could jump in there. I mean, Jarian Jones is the primary backup at that spot. But then let's also not forget about Antonio Johnson.
Yeah, I was going to ask you because
Antonio Johnson can play there in a minute.
Yeah.
In a minute. He's got Kyle Hamilton ability. And so when you get safeties back, and that's, Trevis Gibson and Wingard, now all of a sudden you've got some great flexibility if you wanted to play Antonio Johnson as the nickel or Savage as the nickel or, whoever can flip-flop the dime, and kind of got some guys that can be interchangeable there, which, as a coordinator, when you've got guys that got that positional flexibility, it gives you a lot of formulas to work with and combinations in the back end that can confuse a quarterback.
All right, well, we've got Jeff Lageman obviously in studio with us today. It's a Check the Tape Tuesday, just going over some of the preliminary stuff. And again, if you didn't hear, Terrell Edmonds and Christian Braswell expected to be let go reportedly by the Jags. None of this official until later on this afternoon, although they did announce the Trevis Gibson trade yesterday, so you can count that one as official right now. We'll try to further pare down some of these lingering questions.
I think I saw Trey Flowers
go too,
among the guys that are going to be gone. Yeah.
Okay, so these are starting to trickle in this morning. But if you've got a specific question or comment for Jeff Lageman, you can hit us up on this Check the Tape Tuesday in a variety of ways. 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone line. Same number for the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. You can hop in the YouTube virtual studio and post some thoughts in the chat there as well. You can hit us up on social media. @MD_1010XL, @1010XL Fat Tony, @Logs56, that's LOGS56, or @1010XL Denmark.
Go Tigers. I got some breaking news.
Oh, what do you got?
The Texans just released Jaguar legend C.J. Henderson.
Just released C.J. Henderson. How bad is that, man? Bad
pick.
You think?
Bad pick.
Very bad pick. That was the year that instead of C.J. Henderson and K'Lavon Chaisson, if I'm not mistaken, Tony, the Jaguars could have drafted CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson.
True.
Without changing around. They were both available at those respective picks that they use. Of course, now they'd be paying them like $80 million for a single season to have those two guys on your team. Congrats, CeeDee Lamb, for getting paid this offseason. But
what you call lack of homework?
It's lack of
vetting players. You got to do it.
No question. I mean, he was one of those guys, Logs, that immediately upon being drafted, it looked like he was unhappy to be coming here. And everyone tried to play that off like, oh, he's just a quiet guy, whatever. Like, how many guys are quiet when they get selected in the top 10 in the National Football League?
If you look at the Jaguars, I mean, they've made some mistakes, and a lot of those mistakes you got to vet the players. I mean, you got to dig and find out the character and the being of these individuals. So because if you make a mistake, it sets your franchise back and it costs you a lot of money.
No question about it. All right. We've got Jeff Lageman locked and loaded, so bring your thoughts. We got a lot of questions already on social media. We'll get through as many as we can today. You know the other ways to interact with the program as well. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Jeff Lageman, and Dylan Breaking News Denmark here with you. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Here's another classic Florida Gator moment.
We got 30 minutes for the rest of our life. 30 minutes. We're going to hit somebody, and we're taking it down the field for a touchdown. I guarantee you that. Let's go. Let's go.
1010XL, home of the Florida Gators.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, Garber wiggle.
At Garber Auto Mall, we can wiggle it. Best price, we can wiggle it. Best trade value, we can wiggle it. Best payment, we can wiggle it. Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. With 8 American brands, we can wiggle it. Visit us in Green Cove Springs or online at GarberAutomall.com. And remember, at Garber Auto Mall, there's always a little room for wiggle.
Do the Garber wiggle, Garber wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle, Garber wiggle.
This is Tony Baselli, Pro Football Hall of Famer. I was known for protecting our quarterback. These days, I'm extending that protection to a different arena, your home. I have partnered with Heritage Roofing of North Florida, your premier local roofers with over 25 years of experience. Heritage is your go-to roofer for hurricane preparation, with same-day inspections and estimates. They also work with all insurance companies. Let Heritage Roofing of North Florida safeguard your home and family. Visit heritagenfl.com for your free estimate today.
State license CCC 1335410.
Hacker here, and let me give it to you straight. Here's what happened. I saw Mike and Matt lose weight pretty quickly and pretty easily with Awaken 180. Of course, I'd been griping about my weight for a long time, so I asked if they could put me in touch with Awaken 180. They each said yes, it'd be perfect for me. So I ended up on a call with Paige, the owner of Awaken 180 Weight Loss. By the end of that call, my only question was, what's the catch? Awaken 180 sounded too good to be true. Eat to lose weight? No meds? No workouts? Really? Paige just smiled through the phone and said, there is no catch, Hacker. Awaken 180 works. I was skeptical, but intrigued. After the first week, I was sold. I dropped 19 pounds, and now 90 pounds later, I'm almost to my goal. The amazing part, and a main reason I chose Awaken 180, Mike and Matt both said the weight has stayed off. If losing weight is your goal, I suggest having the same conversation I had with Awaken 180. Schedule yours today at awaken180weightloss.com.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I'm with Greg Mackey from Cycles of Jacksonville, and even though you're the place to go for fun, you're also a place to go for generators. People need generators.
And the Honda lineup is amazing. They make the super quiet model, inverter technology, the electricity's super clean. You can have conversations with them. You can back up your whole house with a Honda generator. So we have them in stock, and we're ready to ride.
So you have generators big enough that could run everything in the house?
Absolutely.
Check it out, Cycles of Jacksonville on Atlantic near Regency for generators.
It's about the hunt.
Captain Kevin Favor here with Captain Kirk and Jeff Lageman.
We take you from the water to the woods.
On the Nimnicht Outdoors Show.
Presented by
Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning.
Let's go to the woods, y'all.
Saturday mornings from 7 to 10 on 1010XL.
Homeowners, good news for you. Accent on 4. Listen up. Loan Pronto now has mortgage rates that start with a 4. Prosser here. It's true. Mortgage rates have plummeted. So low, we haven't seen them in a long time. If your current rate is over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto just locked in a homeowner at 4.99% APR. So whether you got your loan last week, last month, or last year, it's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in process with another lender, stop now, call Loan Pronto. Ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days, with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Call 904-999-1508 or loanpronto.com. Call 904-999-1508. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166.781. Owner approved credit, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
If you're looking for the best in indoor air quality, I've got the experts to call. Florida Home AC, the official AC provider of the Jaguars, specializing in the best air quality for your home or work with the Remy Halo. Instead of waiting for pollutants to travel through the ductwork to be neutralized, the Halo cell releases friendly oxidizers every time your fan blows air, helping those in your home that suffer from allergies and other respiratory issues. Call 777-4300 for Florida Home AC and start enjoying cool comfort and clean air.
Welcome to ABS, Advanced Business Solutions, your local print management partner and home to Xerox and HP copiers. From IT management to VoIP phone systems, Advanced Business Solutions is the right name to know.
Jeff Lageman here. Now that football season is here, make sure your ride can get to that tailgate or away game safely and dependably. You can trust the ASE certified professionals at any of the 27 independently owned Napa Auto Care Centers and the quality Napa parts they use. Napa Auto Care Centers can handle everything: oil changes, air conditioning, brakes, engines, transmissions, and more. Napa Auto Care offers a nationwide 24-month, 24,000-mile peace of mind warranty on those repairs. Find a Napa Auto Care Center near you. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com.
If you're about to order a floral arrangement for someone you love, then take it from me, 1010XL's JJ LaSalva. Use Kuhn Flowers. That's right, Kuhn Flowers. For over 75 years, Kuhn Flowers gets it done right.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
Wondering what you're going to do for dinner tonight? Southern Steer Butcher is a full-service butcher that offers take-and-bake side options that are oven-ready.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday on Jaguars Today is brought to you by Napa Auto Care. Go to the pros Napa know-how. JacksNapaAutoCareGroup.com on 1010XL.
What are you grinning at over there?
I was just thinking back about the illustrious career of C.J. Henderson here in Jacksonville, and I remembered that he had a pick in his first game.
Yeah.
Right?
Legendary.
So I went and looked at the game logs I was like, that might have been the only pick. It's the only one I can remember. It was the only pick he had in a Jaguars uniform. That day was also the only day where he played a game where he had more than one pass defense that he was credited for. He got 3 passes defense that day. Never had more than one.
We got a star coming in. Break up 3 passes and an interception in your first game? I mean, that's a hell of a debut.
Looking at it, he only had 3 more games where he had a pass defense for the Jaguars.
I just remember watching him in practice and training camp going, he looked disinterested.
Yeah, that was it, right?
And then when he played in the first game, I'm like, oh, maybe we got a gamer.
Yeah.
And then went right back to disinterested.
Yeah, that's the book on him,
Don't be fooled about things you see against Indianapolis at home. That may be fool's gold for the Jaguars here in the last 7
They traded
years.
Dan. What was the tight end we got from Carolina for him? It was Dan something or other, a tight end, receiving tight end.
Yes.
Did a pretty good job while he was here.
He was, but it went to show you kind of like
where we were.
Right, exactly. Like, because he left and never did anything.
No.
You know what? Anyway, he did do a decent job here, and I can't. None of us
Dan Arnold.
Dan Arnold. Thank you.
Yeah. Sometimes when you get older, it takes a little while to find the file.
Who are you talking to? All right. Are you kidding me?
Blueberries every day, Mike.
Look,
blueberries.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Blueberry for the antioxidants or the brain stuff?
Trying to slow it down.
brain stuff, Tony.
Slow,
Me and Log's eating brain
Speed
stuff.
it up and slow it down, slow down the deterioration.
Whatever you say, brother.
Yeah.
Every day I make it to work and in one piece and make it home is a pretty good day.
And celebrate it.
Exactly. All right, Logs, how did understanding that, and I feel like we gave this qualifier a billion times on the post game as well as yesterday, but we understand Atlanta didn't play any of their starters.
Yeah.
The Jags did. And even with that caveat, how do you feel like the offensive line played on Friday night?
Pretty good. Let me say this. First of all, I give credit to the offense and defensive starters just because going into a game that is the last preseason game and you're expected to start and to play a half and then you're playing a team that's not playing anybody, that's kind of a bummer. It can let the air out of the sails, so to speak, but the Jaguar starters didn't let that affect them. So I give them credit for being professional, being prepared, and being ready to go. And they did exactly what I expected them to do, or should I say wanted them to do, which is play well against a bunch of backups for the Atlanta Falcons. And look, it's not like everybody that they were playing against was like not going to be on an NFL team. I mean, there were some backups that were playing for the Atlanta Falcons that are going to be on their roster. So there's some players that were okay, but they did well. I mean, I thought they did exactly what they were supposed to do, and so kudos to the starters.
This question from Billy on social media here on X or Twitter, and I'm going to take it, Tony, that Billy's a skeptic. Okay, and that's fine.
Okay.
I think we're all skeptical to some degree until we see it shown out. This is what Billy asks. Can this offensive line be successful run or pass blocking against starting talent? What have you seen during the offseason to inform your opinion?
Sure.
So how good do you think this line can be?
I'm watching the preseason, and for the most part in the preseason, you've had glimpses of guys playing. Like the second preseason game, you ended up seeing Anton Harrison and
Ezra
at left guard. And in this past game, you saw all of them. The first game, you obviously didn't see much of anything. But I thought there were moments that this offensive line did really well. I go to the game against Tampa Bay with Ezra and Anton on the outside on that run, both of them getting 2 blocks, pancake blocks on that one particular play. That was impressive. I thought Walker Little in the first 2 games of the preseason played really well, and he's going to be a valuable backup that at some point he's going to play. He's probably going to play a lot.
Did he have a bad game this week?
He didn't play as well as the first 2, but it wasn't a bad game. I would not term it a bad game.
I saw some people crushing him on social media.
No, it's not a bad game. And if people are crushing him, I think they're maybe a little off.
Well, social media tends to exaggerate your opinion.
It's a bad rep, right? It's an obviously
games.
bad rep, and I think that's that colors the whole expectation or the reaction to a player
like
when a
when
game.
Trevor got hit low, okay, and you ended up having Sheriff get beat to the inside on a pretty damn good move, to be perfectly honest.
Right, quick,
decisive move, knocked the hands down. It was a very good move. I mean, look, that happens. And Brandon had 2 guys that were kind of showing blitz, and I think he was responsible for one of those 2 guys, whichever one comes. And so a little indecisiveness and then a really good move. I mean, that happens, So that doesn't mean he had a bad game. It was a bad play. I think Walker had one play that wasn't great, but overall I thought it was pretty consistent. The great thing is that I like what I've seen so far. And look, I still have a big question mark. I've said it before here that I think the big question mark on offense is the offensive line. But there has been signs in the preseason that I've really liked, signs of physicalness. And that's what this offensive unit really needed, was a physicality up front to establish some things. And one of the big factors I think that is allowing them to do that is that notice how much they're playing in a 3-point this year compared to last year and the year before that. I think there's a definite change of mindset here, and I think it's incredibly important for this offense to have that identity this year, and also the identity of having Bigsby be a contributor on this offense. Because if you have that mindset, 3-point stance, 2 backs, we're going to roll them in, man, Trevor and the group of skill position players can be that much better.
All right, before we get to these calls here, Logs, let's just go through where you have the offensive line projected right now. Okay, we understand Cam Robinson, Ezra Cleveland, Mitch Morse, Brandon Sheriff, Anton Harrison. There's your starting 5. Walker Little, Javon Foster, seem like locks.
Yeah, Foster played better this past game. The second preseason game wasn't great, but he's a fourth-round pick tackle, and you don't cut fourth-round pick tackles.
Exactly. All right. It seems, based on Phil Rauscher's comments last week, that there's little doubt that Luke Fortner is part of the plan here.
Yeah, and because you really don't have anybody else that's gotten a ton of snaps in the preseason so far. I mean, would I do that? I don't know if I would do that, but I mean, he's your backup center, so you got to have a backup center. So he is going to make it, I believe.
Cooper Hodges.
He's a make. I mean, he's had a very good preseason. It's not perfect. I mean, this past game he had some plays that were, you'd like to have a little bit more consistency, and that's part of growing as a young player. But I think he's a future starting right guard, and I'm talking next year.
All right, I did the easy stuff. Now, you keeping 10 or you keeping those 9?
Keeping 10.
Okay, who's the 10th man?
Cole Van Lanen.
Okay.
I mean, he's earned it. He plays a premium position. He once again had an outstanding game against Atlanta. And after the first 2 games, I was like, probably not going to make it. But then, look, you put consistency together, and if you don't keep a guy like that, what kind of I don't want to say it sends a message, but I mean, the other players on the team are
it's
looking
a little
at that.
bit of a message.
It can be. It can be taken as one.
Right.
That we have a player that played really well and played his way to earn a roster spot but didn't, and people are going to go, well, how does that happen?
Right, because politics, because of the draft pick. And that's a reality. You invest in a draft pick, that guy is going to have a suit of armor on for that rookie season up to a certain point, particularly, those first 4 rounds.
He's played really well. And I
Van
think
Lanen.
Yeah. And I think also having Cooper Hodges next to him playing well has really helped. Because now you got a guard who's really strong, and a couple of those combo blocks that they have worked together have been really freaking good because Cooper Hodges is a strong dude, and Van Lanen's got really disciplined feet. So, I mean, both of them together really, I think, helped each other out.
We can get back to the offensive line, but let's get our first phone call into the morning. Rick is in Green Cove. I think wants to talk pass interference. Rick, good morning. You're on Jaguars Today.
Hey, good morning, guys. Glad football season's back going on. Hey, I'm continued to be baffled by the pass interference rule. There was a play, I think it was in the second quarter last game, where the defender had his back to the ball, both hands up, and yet wasn't called for pass interference. It was a play in the end zone. I thought you had to turn your head around.
No.
And if you face guarded.
No, there's no such thing as face guarding. Yeah, there's no such thing as face guarding in the NFL. All interference is contact and when the contact occurs and where the contact occurs. No such thing as face guarding anymore.
Okay. Hey, that clears it up, man.
I appreciate that. Hey, no problem, Rick.
And I will tell you, Rick, the whole point of looking back, and that's kind of been emphasized a lot, if you look back, you can as a defender get away with a lot more other physical things that happen when your eyes are back towards the quarterback.
Is that because you think the ref's attention heads back that way a little bit?
No, not. I think because the referee is viewing that the player is playing the ball, not really being physical with the offensive player. Because at the end of the day, the defensive player has just as much of a right to space as the offensive player. So they kind of look at, well, he's playing the ball. So it's a little different.
Is it still it was a penalty in college, I think, for a long time, face guarding.
It was for a while, but it's not.
Is it? Yeah, it's not in the NFL.
I don't know if it still is in college.
I don't think it is in college anymore.
I'm looking at the most recent one I can find is from 2015 that said it is a penalty in college, but not in professional football. But that's
I don't think it's a penalty in college football anymore either. But then again, I don't know.
May not be. But either way, Rick, appreciate the question and glad we could clear it up.
Great question, though. Yeah. Great question.
All right, we'll come back more with Jeff Lageman. We'll get your calls in, and we've got plenty of questions on social media and the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures as well on a Check the Tape Tuesday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Jennifer, Luxury has a new address in Jacksonville.
Oh, do tell, John.
Randy Marion Cadillac on Southside Boulevard. We've got over 40 Cadillac Lyrics in stock.
40? That's incredible. Any color you want?
You bet. Pick your color and drive away today. Plus, we're giving away a free home charger with every Lyric.
Fantastic. Anything else?
How about a car you'll never have to change the oil on?
No oil changes ever? Now that's luxury.
Randy Marion Cadillac, where Jacksonville meets luxury.
Visit us today on Southside Boulevard and tell them Jennifer sent ya.
Hey, Hicken here. I want to talk skin along with my friends at Beach's Dermatology, reminding you to wear your sunscreen. Football season is back, baby. And with that, days under that bright sun. So when you load up that truck for the game day tailgate, or the chairs for your kids' flag games, or even the boat heading downtown to watch our Jags, make sure you bring the screen. Sunscreen, that is. It's a must here in Duval. But if you have any concerns right now, give Beach's Dermatology a call online at beachesdermatology.com.
Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Feeling the heat, Jacksonville? Cool down with Bold City Heating and Air. From repairs to energy-efficient installs, we do it all. Family-owned and trusted since 2016. We offer clear pricing, NATE-certified techs, and unbeatable service. Call Bold City Heating and Air today and experience the bold difference. Bold City AC, keeping you cool. Bold City AC. Visit boldcityac.com.
Googan Nation, it's Dreamfinders Danny Hicken here to tell you this is no dream. The folks at Dreamfinders Homes right now have an unbeatable interest rate for you. You may not think you can afford a Dreamfinders home. Well, think again. Take advantage of a 2.99% year one rate. I said it, 2.99%. 15 Jacksonville communities to choose from. Find that dream house and take advantage of an unbeatable rate. Move now, literally. Dreamfinders Homes, the official home builder of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Corona Premier. Just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. It's a light beer that... Wait, this is a light beer? But we should really tell people about... Right, that's why I'm here. Sorry. Corona Premier, unexpectedly, light beer.
Certainly facing challenging economic times. I can't speak for all of us, but for me, comforting to know my money is in good hands with ITP Partners. Ticket here for ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. I'll admit it, I don't understand a ton about the economy. Higher interest rates, 401ks, but I do know as I move closer to retirement, I continue to watch my money grow. Thanks to Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, and Reed Wingate. Get in the game, guys. ITP Partners, always there to help. For more info, Chris at ITPPartners.com or call 904-312-9751.
Every team has an enforcer.
Whether you like it or not, I'm a hard hitter and I'm a straight shooter.
Tommy Mack is ours.
I say it like I see it.
Fridays on Jaguars Today, brought to you by Renewal by Anderson Windows and Doors on 1010XL.
Hey gang, Hicken here for Zero Res. Man, it is hot outside this time of the year. Many of us are staying inside or going to the pool. Well, my friends at Zero Res are also heating things up. As you know, Zero Res does a great job of cleaning carpets and rugs. But they also clean luxury vinyl planking, tile and grout, fine stone and hardwood floors. And right now, the hottest price of the year, 25% off all hardwood cleaning. That's 25% off tile, LVP, fine stone, and hardwood floors. Zero Res, man, spell it forward. Zero Res, spell it back. It's the right way to clean.
Zero Res.
Our slogan, Know Before You Blow, applies to more than just DUI cases. Hi, I'm attorney Lee Lockett of Lockett Law. Battery charges can result in jail time and criminal convictions too, so know before you blow a gasket and hit a loved one or a stranger. Drug crimes like possession of marijuana and cocaine will land you in cuffs too, so know before you blow. In a boating under the influence case, you also have the option to blow or not to blow. So know your options. Know before you blow. Go to knowbeforeyouBlow.com now. Offices Jacksonville.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
You're shrimping
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is Everbank Teacher Appreciation. Tomorrow is 5-Star Good as Everywhere Wednesday. And don't miss Coors Light Thirsty Thursday. The Weekend of Boom features fireworks Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Baseball all week and weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
At Hidden Hills Golf Club, we truly love the game of golf. We invite you to book your next tee time here and enjoy a golfing experience that you might not find at other public facilities. Visit us at hiddenhillsgc.com. You'll be glad you did.
This is Dr. Steve Crenshaw, Assistant Team Physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Today's the day the Jaguars will have to finalize their 53-man roster by 4 o'clock. Head coach Doug Peterson met with the media yesterday and discussed the difficulty that comes with cutting down the roster.
It is. I mean, you never, again, been in this business a while now, and it's never easy, to make these moves and these decisions, and it's just unfortunate, that's what the rules are. By doing it early, earlier than Tuesday, it allows these guys opportunities to be picked up, and we still have some moves to make, by tomorrow. But again, it's never easy. These guys have, busted their tails and really put themselves in a position to hopefully now help another squad.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars Update.
XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Jeff Lageman Tuesday
is brought to you by
Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, had a follow-up on the text line, Design by Lifetime Enclosures, on a subject we were discussing earlier, and it just kind of, I should have followed up with you at the time. You mentioned they're going to play, in your opinion, when everyone's up to full strength. Mm-hmm. Maybe not week one, right, with Eric Armstead, that he'll be a defensive end in base downs. I assume that means they'll move Trayvon inside, and because you want your best guys on the field to start, you think it will be a different setup.
Well, I think for opening day, Eric Armstead is not going to be a starter. He'll be worked in the lineup. But at some point in the future, you may have a week that Eric Armstead is a starting defensive end, and then either Trayvon or Josh is the other starting defensive end, and then maybe Big Roy is the starting 3 and Devon's the starting nose, or Jordan Jefferson. I mean, I think there will be games to where you have either Josh or Trayvon not starting, but it's not, again, the starting lineups are kind of written in sand with Ryan Nielsen, and it's not about who starts, but it's about playing everybody throughout the course of the game.
And whatever percentage of snaps that is, right, that Josh and Trayvon played a really high percentage of the snaps last year, but whatever that is, that do you presume that basically Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker, Eric Armstead, if everyone is, let's say it's week 12, everyone's completely healthy, they're playing roughly the same percentage of the snaps?
Yeah, I still think that they're going to get a lot of snaps. I mean, because at times you'll have Eric Armstead kicking down inside in sub packages, Trayvon probably as well. So all of their snaps are still going to be high for Trayvon and Josh. Eric, it'll be kind of dependent upon how he's doing. They're trying to manage him to get him kind of towards the end of the season, I'm sure. But, yeah, they're still going to play a ton of snaps, and a lot of times now most players would say, okay, it's not a big deal if I'm not starting, but if you have an incentive in your contract that has language in there about starts, then that might be an issue. But I don't think those guys would have that kind of language in their contract. But at the end of the day, it's about winning, and everybody's still going to play a ton, and we had the same situation when I was in New York. We had a lot of guys that were kind of rolling through. It was me and Dennis Byrd and Marvin Washington and Ron Stallworth, who was a 4th-round pick. Marty Lyons. I mean, there was games that some of us weren't starting, but, we were okay with it. We didn't care because we were all playing a ton in the game, so it didn't matter.
All right, let's move on to some other things. You can follow up on that if you want to, folks. You know the ways to get in at 641-1010 primarily. From Bush Drive Rich, a couple of them here. First off, do you think Trevor's more comfortable in shotgun or under center?
I think he does both of them very well. I can tell you this, that quarterbacks that are under center, when you have the threat of the running game, I think are much more comfortable at times because the defense is unsure what the play is going to be. You have a little bit of indecisiveness when you have a quarterback under center versus in shotgun. Whereas in shotgun, you have kind of defensive linemen, if I see a shotgun formation and I'm looking at stances and where the running back is, I can usually tell whether it's run or pass to about a 90% certainty. When the quarterback is under center, it's not as easy to figure out. So it's kind of you're not pinning your ears back as quickly as a pass rusher. So it definitely helps.
So barring 2-minute drill or 3rd and long or obvious situations where you're in the shotgun because you're going to throw, Do you think they would prefer to be under center?
Yeah, I think they will. I think that's going to be a change this year. I really do. I mean, from what we've seen so far in the preseason with the 3-point stance, the commitment to the running game, and a lot of people would look at the last preseason game and then also the second preseason game when Mac Jones was playing in that game and the commitment to runs, like, oh, well, they're just trying to get the clock going quite a bit because it's preseason. I don't think so. I think they're committed to being that type of a team once they get into the regular season, a team that's committed to running the football. Because, if you're running the football well, Brian Thomas Jr. is flying down the field with Gabe Davis on one side and Brian on the other, and you're getting some big chunks of yardage. Just like you got on that, what was it, a 38-yarder, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah. It's impossible not to notice on Friday night that the first offensive play they ran was from under center with Evan Ingram offset at fullback, right? And I'm watching as that play is about to be run. I'm like, what kind of pass play are they running out of this? And they run it with Evan Ingram as a lead blocker on the play. Like, that was at the bottom of the list of my expectations, mostly because it's preseason, so you don't expect to see that kind of thing necessarily happen in the preseason. But what does that tell you about what the offense is going to look like when they go under center this year? I wouldn't expect Evan Ingram to be the fullback a whole lot because he is so valuable in the pass game for what they want to do. But who would be there? Would that be where they line up Strange? Like, what exactly will that look like?
Well, I think you can line up both there. But here's the thing, okay? If let's say the Jaguars come out there and what was their personnel grouping when Evan was a fullback? Did they have who do they have? Did they have another tight end on the field?
I don't remember. They might have.
All right, and I think they did, and I think it was Luke Farrell.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they have Luke Farrell on the field, and then you have Evan Ingram. Most teams, how they treat that, they treat Evan Ingram as a wide receiver. Mm-hmm. So they're playing nickel with that. So if you're an offensive coordinator and the team is playing you with your wide receiving tight end, Evan Ingram, what's the matchups that you should be able to take advantage of there? Well, running the ball, right? Because they're playing a tight end as a wide receiver. So you want to maybe try to run the ball a little bit there.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you put Brenton Strange in there with Farrell, what are they going to match up with? They're going to match up with a base defense. Yeah. Okay, so in that situation, to keep them off balance, you might want to throw the ball a little bit. So, and I think they, in order to keep defenses honest with this offense and Evan Ingram has to be able to be a blocker at times so that this offense can be as good as it can be. It's just like Kansas City. When Kansas City lines up Travis Kelce as a tight end, they still consider him a blocker because he's physical enough.
Mm-hmm.
You don't necessarily treat him as a wide receiver all the time because he's so big and he can line up on the line of scrimmage. Evan's a little different because most teams treat him as a true wide receiver.
And I know it's something we've talked about around Evan for a couple of years now, since he got here to Jacksonville, listening to you talk about how good or bad he is as a blocker. One of the things you've always said is he's willing. Like, whatever they're asking him to do, he's willing to do. And there's evidence of that on that play. It's like they put him at fullback, tell him to lead through the hole. He does it, right? And did an okay job doing it, too. He was fine doing that kind of thing. That willingness is a big part of it. And, you explaining it that way, it makes more sense to me. It's like, yeah, it does force the defense to actually have to make a decision on how we're going to try to defend this play because Evan's back there.
That's right.
They can do a lot of things with Evan back there.
Right, exactly. And one of the things, too, that I've been kind of watching, because about willing blockers, the other one I've been watching in preseason has been Brian Thomas Jr., because in the past, the Jaguars wide receiver group has been pretty good at blocking, and they've been very willing. And Brian is willing, but you still want to see a little bit more. But part of that is just, he probably hasn't done a whole lot of that out of LSU. I mean, he just caught passes. And so I think it's a little bit of an adjustment for him. And he's not bad at it. And he's going there, but he needs to finish a little bit better.
All right, the other part of the question here from Bush Drive Rich, have you seen the improvement on Trevor's ball placement both in the pocket and on the run?
Oh, absolutely. Trevor should have been 10 of 10 in that ball game. I mean, look at the 2 incompletions that he had. He had one incompletion to the end zone to Gabe that went right off his hands, that was to the left for Trevor, and then the other one was the deep ball to Gabe. And that one was a drop in the bucket, and Gabe just didn't find the ball.
Yeah.
I thought those 2 were excellent balls. The throw that he made on the run to a tight window to
Parker Washington
when he went down to his knees. I mean, it was just a ridiculously small window.
There wasn't a window there. I mean, it was like a porthole or something.
The throw to Evan Ingram for the first touchdown, you got a defensive back that's doubling Evan Ingram, and he throws it right over top of the outstretched arms. But here's the crazy thing. The arms weren't outstretched when he throws the ball. He anticipates that that's where they're going to be at.
Right.
And they literally maybe an inch over the top of the outreached hands of the defensive back. I mean, some of the throws that he's been making this year, that when you watch him in practice and then you watch him in the game, you just go, wow. I mean, wow. And in those two to Gabe, I'm telling you, those were, you get big-time plays. Those are caught.
All right, another one here. This one from Ed. How does zone blocking teams manage short yardage? He continued the need for, by NFL standards, athletic but less strong linemen seem like it has shown up in other teams that use a similar philosophy. Is it a detriment when you're in short yardage if you're a zone blocking team?
No, not necessarily. I think one thing that can help is that when you're a zone running team is that your running back has to press the issue. In other words, so when you're trying to run a zone, it's not necessarily always a predetermined hole, which is what they call like a gap scheme. Okay, now a zone scheme, you're trying to stretch a defense, whether it's on the inside or whether it's the outside, and so your running back has to kind of have a target. So he has to kind of pull the defense out to stretch them a little bit to where he finds an opening somewhere in that zone. And I think Travis, and also think Tank, I think they're getting better at that. And as far as having a landmark, attacking a landmark, and then planning and going. And if you notice during the game where Travis was really decisive, all of a sudden once he made that foot was planted, he was downhill and through a gap, and a defender couldn't even get off of a block quickly enough to where he could even impact his running. So they're getting better at it, and is that a problem? I don't think it is, because there's been a lot of zone blocking teams that have been really good in this league in short yardage.
Dave Campo said this to me at one of the training camp practices. We were talking about this, and he said when you get to 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, goal line, whatever, there is no such thing as zone blocking, right? You don't have time to stretch a team out, or at least it works to the defense's advantage. The more time you give them to react to that.
Yeah, you're trying to get push.
Right.
But you still, zone run is typically not called in short yardage. Typically not.
Right. So are the Jags then, if they've got more agile, mobile offensive linemen, do they come up short in the power department in those specific instances, I guess is what the listener is trying to ask.
They can at times, but the expectation is that, look, if you're short yardage blocking, grind it out. And that's the one thing I think that's been pretty good so far, is that they have been pretty good in those situations so far. But we'll see. You were the worst short yardage team in the league last year.
All right. You're Jeff Lageman. You're calling the play.
I'm just positive. I'm thinking positive.
It's 3rd and 1, 4th and 1.
Right.
Who are you running behind? Which pair of guys are you kind of like?
Left side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going behind Cam and Ezra.
Yep.
Okay.
But here's the other thing. I love the way Anton Harrison's blocking. The two guys that aren't as strong up front are Sheriff and Morse. Those two guys don't have the power that the other three guys have.
And I'm curious because Morse got really high run blocking grades last year, by the analytics folks out there. So what have you seen from him? You don't necessarily have to bowl everyone over, but what have you seen from him in that department, whether it's in practice or in the game?
He just does a really good job of staying on the block. A lot of times in the running game in the NFL, it's not about moving people. I think it's a special trait when you can actually move people. But a lot of times, just tie them up. Keep them from going to where they want to be, and then tie them up just long enough. And Morse does a good job of that. If you were to rank Morse amongst the centers in the National Football League, you'd probably say he's a middle of the road center. He's not a top tier center in the league. But he's sufficient. And the nice thing about him is that he does a really good job of not missing and tying people up. Sheriff does a great job, even though he may not be as strong in that old phone booth type of situation, like a Cooper Hodges has a little bit of that, or like the old school to Larry Allen of the Dallas Cowboys, who was a freak on the opposite end. But what Sheriff gives you that some of those other guys that are big and powerful and strong can't do is that Sheriff gives you a guy who's super athletic, who can get out in space and block in space. So there's a little bit of a trade-off typically when you have offensive linemen like that.
Your opinion is Morse what you would deem to be a significant upgrade over Luke Fortner?
Yeah, I think it's an upgrade. Yeah,
Okay.
it's an upgrade that was worth doing, absolutely.
All right, just checking to see where we're at on the offensive line. Still getting a lot of questions on that. You can keep those coming in on social media, on the phone lines, on the text line, however you want to do it in the YouTube virtual chat. It's a Check the Tape Tuesday. We're halfway home with Jeff Lageman. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
You have heard about the 1010XL YouTube channel. Now check out our team-specific channels, 1010XL Jaguars, 1010XL Gators, and 1010XL Seminoles, bringing up specific, up-to-the-minute video coverage of your favorite local team. And find us on YouTube today.
At Cannons of Jacksonville, they know that when you're towing anything, you gotta have products you can rely on. With over 50 years of fabrication expertise, the family at Cannons can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Whether it's a heavy-duty hitch, trailer frame, gooseneck, tow bar, or any other towing accessory, Cannons will provide you with unmatched precision and durability. For all your towing needs, visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Joe C. for Hard Rock Bet. It's the sports book for every kind of player. Straightforward, simple enough for the first-time bettor, but built with all the features experienced players expect. Plus, try it now. If your first bet doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus bet back up to $100. Easy deposits and fast withdrawals. PayPal, Venmo, and more. All you have to do to get started is download the Hard Rock Bet app, go online, hardrock.bet. Offered by the Seminole Tribe of Florida. Must be 21 plus and physically present in Florida to wager. Terms and conditions apply. Concerned about gambling? Call 1-888-ADMIT-IT.
Expert Automotive is ready to keep you cool this summer. Right now, get an AC inspection or a system cooling checkup. Your choice for only $19.99. Their gift to you this summer is $50 off any service and a free tire rotation with any service. Their ASE certified technicians can keep your car cool without breaking the bank this summer. Call them at 374-3373 to get an appointment today. Expert Automotive. They never sell greed, only what you need.
I open the door and take you inside the locker room to get you closer to the field, the players and coaches you care about.
Get a look at Hayes' blog on 1010XL.com.
My blog is brought to you by Roland Reach Plumbing,
where quality and experience count.
Facing a DUI charge or even a boating under the influence charge? Well, I'm your man, DUI lawyer Malcolm Anthony at 285-4LAW. 285-4LAW. Once again, 285-4LAW.
You hear that? That's the sound of your water bill tripling. Are you ready to fix the drip? Call Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing and Septic Services. They do it all. DuckDuckRooter.com.
Cold beer and good grub. That's what you'll get at Taps on 210. Just a great neighborhood feel where friends and family get together. Check out Taps in the Winn-Dixie Plaza, just west of 95 on County Road 210, proudly supporting our 9 After 5 weekly. Head there for a cold one.
This is Greg Huntington, a.k.a. The Mangler. I'm on the winning team at Waste Management. WM is the largest sustainability company in North America. If your business needs sustainable environmental services for waste removal and recycling collection, then you can count on the industry leader of WM to deliver results. Your services will be completed in a timely, safe, and eco-friendly manner. Go to WM.com, WM.com, and get signed up today. If anyone can talk trash, it's The Mangler. Go Team WM, and as always, Duval!
The saying goes, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, that is actually true if your neighbor installed artificial turf. Lauren Brooks here from my friends at Sunshine Turf, a family-owned local company that will take your backyard dreams and turn them into a reality. Caleb can design anything from putting greens to pet runs, and if you have a pool, you'll definitely love maintenance-free turf around it. Visit sunshineturf.info to get a free quote today. Sunshine Turf. That's sunshineturf.info.
Are you a meat lover searching for quality cuts? Southern Steer Butcher uses a vacuum tumbler to marinate and tenderize our chicken and world-famous steak tips.
Now open in Ortega. For tasty tips and juicy breasts, choose Southern Steer Butcher.
the flagship station of the Jacksonville Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Navy Mutual was created by service members for service members, so we know what it means to serve. Our policies have no active duty service restrictions, so you can rest assured that you're covered no matter your duty station, home or abroad. To go even further, we promise that premiums will not be higher for those who serve in dangerous environments, including aviation, diving, or on deployments. Let us help you protect those you love the most. Learn more at NavyMutual.org.
We love talking sports on 1010XL, and I-9 Sports loves giving kids the perfect way to grow up playing sports. Fall and winter registration is underway. Log on to i9sports.com and see all they've got to offer. Kids 3 and up. You can enter 1010 in the promo code for a discount. Year-round sports all across the First Coast. St. John's, Duval, and Clay. Sign up now for fall and winter. Great locations added like Fort Family Field, Westside Middle, and Duval Charter Bay Meadows. It's all online at i9sports.com.
Here's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. As the Gators look to go into their season opener, head coach Billy Napier identified sources of confidence going into the game.
Yeah, I think experience matters in openers. We've got a veteran group. We're playing at home, which there'll be a comfort level there.
Georgia head coach Kirby Smart says Clemson's biggest asset is right up front.
You know, he's got an extremely experienced offensive line. They've got a tremendous offensive line in terms of the amount of experience. I would have thought ours was one of the most experienced offensive lines in the country. Well, theirs has got more starts than ours.
Kicker Ryan Fitzgerald and defensive back Shaheem Brown earned ACC Player of the Week honors following Florida State's season opener loss against Georgia Tech. Fitzgerald was the ACC Specialist of the Week. Brown set a career high with 13 tackles. That's your Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update. I'm Sam Nelson.
At 10:56, it's 85 degrees. Time and 10 brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Yeah! Jeff Lageman Tuesday is serviced by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
All right, a Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman in studio here with us. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark as well as we look back on the Jags 31-0 win over Atlanta, but really look beyond that to what the roster will ultimately look like to open up the season. We've had a sprinkling of guys that we found out will not be back today. Tony, is it just Trey Flowers, Terrell Edmonds, Christian Braswell, or has anybody joined that list?
All I've seen to this point.
Okay, plus the guys we saw yesterday, Trevis Gibson getting dealt. Many more to come later on today. Logs question from X or Twitter right here from Trevor. Not that one.
Okay.
As far as I know. This could be a burner. How has Caleb Johnson played, and will he make the roster in your opinion?
Yeah, he'll make it. He's a really good special teamer. You know, out of all the linebackers that potentially could make this team, I think he's the most active on special teams, him and Muma.
So you've got Foye, you got Devin Lloyd, you got Muma. I presume Ventrell Miller.
Yes.
Caleb Johnson, Yasir Abdullah.
Mm-hmm.
That your linebacking core?
6 of them.
Okay. What about let's do wide receiver here as well,
okay.
Right? What's the number you're currently on?
I'm kind of torn between 6 or 7.
All right. If it's 6, is it definitely Tim Jones in that last spot?
Yes.
Okay. So it's a question of do they keep Elijah Cooks?
Right.
It seems like, or not.
Yeah, and he had a couple really nice catches this past game.
Right.
So. Could he be one of these young players that you go, let's just give him another year to
How do you
develop?
feel about that? It's a tough balance, right? You want guys that can produce for you right now, but you also got to draft and develop. So for Jeff Lageman, do I want to hang on to Elijah Cooks?
I would like to, but, if you're keeping 10 offensive linemen and then 7 wide receivers, you got to be light a couple other places, so – it's going to be an interesting decision. I like him just because I think he's got really good potential. But sometimes in this business, you don't have the luxury for potential to be able to keep a guy on the active roster. You got to win. And if you have to keep a guy, though, that's on the active roster, I think he's one of those guys, though.
where do you think they're having that discussion today? Like, obviously, they're going to have to make a decision. Well, do we want to keep it here or here, right?
Like defensive back could be one of those. Well, you know what, Braswell, let's keep the other guy on the other side of the ball. I mean, that could be a decision or one of the discussions being had over there.
3 running backs?
Yeah, 3. I mean, there's really
will get that third spot? Or do you think Jalen Jackson has a chance?
No, Dearness is going to get that. Jackson doesn't play special teams.
I thought Dearness played pretty well.
He's okay
in the preseason.
Yeah, I mean, you can find a guy like that. I don't think he's worthy of a roster spot, maybe practice squad.
You're talking about Jackson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was saying, I thought Dearness played pretty well.
Yeah, Dearness played well.
The preseason.
And he always plays pretty solid on special teams. Is he a super dynamic special teams player? No. But he's a solid special teams player. And then you're going to put Keelan Robinson probably on IR, one of those 2 kind of gift IR spots that you got. He'll take one of them.
Wingard will get the other one.
Wingard will get the other one. So those are your 2. Send them to IR without exposing them to waivers or anything else.
With, we've talked about a lot of the positions, most of them to this point. Who, in your mind, is the toughest guy that you're probably going to have to let go? Like, whatever that decision is between 53 and 54 on the roster, who are the guys we're talking about in that position?
I think another way that I would put it is that they're going to have a job somewhere else. Dewara, I think the tight end is going to have a job somewhere else.
Meaning he'll get picked up by somebody.
Yeah, somebody will pick him up. I think you're going to also have a cut amongst the defensive tackles that somebody's going to pick up. And I don't know exactly who they're going to keep. I mean, that might be one of the most interesting cuts for me.
What's the chances Asese makes the team?
Of who?
Asese Otomowa.
Oh, I just know him as Otomowa.
See, I think it's easier to say
Otomewo.
Otomewo. Yeah, exactly. Otomewo. Right. That's why I think it's easier Asese, right? Anyway.
I haven't even looked at the first name, Mike.
We know who we're talking about here, right? He had 2.5 sacks those first 2 games.
I know they like him.
Is it just a numbers game? Is he going to they're crossing their fingers he makes it to the practice squad, or do you think he has a chance?
I think he's got a chance. I mean, that because if you're looking at the kind of the roster formulation, I put Eric Armstead. That's why I kind of push him over to the edge category, because it kind of gets him out of that other category that's pretty deep right now. In a category that you've got some draft picks.
Do you think they see it that way?
I think they see it that way too. Yeah.
Okay.
Because they like what they have on the inside. I mean, if you look at it, Devon Hamilton, Roy Robertson Harris, Otomewo, Mason Smith, Tyler Lacey, Ledbetter, Jordan Jefferson. I mean, there's some good players.
Ledbetter definitely making it.
I don't think he's a definite, but I was having a conversation with Devon Hamilton and just asking him. I said, "Who do you really like?" And he really likes Ledbetter. And then you watch him; he's consistent. And he can play also the nose, and he can kick out and play the 3. So kind of he has a little bit of positional flexibility at that defensive tackle spot. But that to me, Mike, the defensive tackle, there's some unknowns there. I mean, they can end up trading a guy. I don't know. I mean, just because they got to find a way to settle in on a number. Mm-hmm. What that number is? It 5? Is it 4? Is it 6? I don't know, but they may end up getting to that number by trading a guy.
Have you seen much from Jordan Jefferson that gets you excited?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Where has it shown up?
Strong dude. Strong dude. And I'm talking when he plays, he's a strong dude with a bad ankle. I can't wait to see him when he gets his ankle back to being 100%. We kind of think that Devon Hamilton is strong. At the point, Jordan Jefferson's a whole nother level. A whole nother level than Devon Hamilton, and he's very aware. He sees the ball. He gets off of blocks. You can tell he's still just a little bit gimpy, but I really like him. Really like him.
All right, so Mason Smith, he's flashed, and he's got a great toolkit, let's call it.
Great swim move the other night.
I don't think he realized how quick he was going to get back there, right? And he could have swallowed Heineke up whole.
Like the miss, the ultimate miss. It was like, the giant, and he goes and he throws the arms together, and he's looking around going, where'd he go?
The old duck under move right there. But how do you think they're going to utilize him early in the season?
He's going to be a rotational player, and I think he's going to be involved as a sub-rusher quite a bit. Just because he's got pass rush ability. He can win one-on-ones on the inside. And I think his role will be Somewhat limited. When I say limited, that you're not going to ask him to play 70 snaps a game, but you know what? Let's see if he can play 35 to 40 snaps a game, and give some quality reps. I think the regular down reps at 3 will be some, but I don't think that would be his strongest ask right now.
Okay, what do you see him factoring in as a defensive end?
Not this year.
Okay.
Yeah, not this year. I think in the future, I think he could. Was talking to him and Ryan Nielsen before the game the other night, and he's around 315. They kind of want him down around 305. I don't know if you saw the interview that he had with Jaguars.com. He also said, need to lose a little weight. And he gets down to 305 and gets trim and grows into that body because he's still a young man. He's going to be an impressive player. I'm excited about him. I think, like Jordan Jefferson is ready-made now, once he gets the ankle healthy. Mason Smith is still a work in progress. I mean, he's still clay that is going to get molded, and I think he's got a tremendous skill set. But I think he's going to be – next year and the year after that, we're going to be going, man, this guy's really good. This year you're going to go, oh, wow, that was a cool play. Good. He's going to have flashy moments just because he's got a great skill set.
All right, take a look at the secondary logs, the cornerback position. All right, you got Tyson Campbell, you got Ronald Darby. We presume that Darnell Savage will be your starting nickel.
Yeah, I like Savage. Obviously, like Tyson Campbell. I think Darby's got some limitations.
What are they?
He's been a journeyman. I mean, when journeymen bounce around from team to team, they have some limitations as far as their ability to cover. In the game the other night, Heineke was completing balls on him, and just he is what he is. He's kind of a guy that you sign to kind of get you through to the next guy that you want to get in the future to replace him. Could that be a Trey Prince? Could that be a Jarian Jones? I don't know.
If those guys aren't ready right now, is this a position you might look to hit the waiver wire for, or possibly even trade for a guy?
I think they like him enough, to where they're like, okay, he's going to be good enough, and we, can you get better on the waiver wire than him? Probably not. Probably about the same.
Well, if they're look, the people are asking. Some people have asked, based on the guys whose names came out yesterday, are you interested in anybody? Most of the guys who came out yesterday are the easy cuts.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the guys that are not going to not have a big market out there, but not getting into a specific player necessarily, but which position group do you think would be most likely for them to try and add a veteran to, or in your opinion, which position group should they be looking to add a veteran to?
I think that's position right there, defensive back. Yeah. I think you always. You play with so many cornerbacks, defensive backs in this league, and you've had some injuries at safety. I think that's definitely a position that you would look at, and corner, just because you have some inexperience there. Once you get past Ronald Darby, that could also be a position. But look, Trey Flowers, I heard he was released. We're kind of suspecting that maybe he was released, but. Oruwariye is another guy, a veteran guy that they brought in who's got some length, has played quite a bit of football. That could also maybe be a practice squad guy, or Flowers could be a practice squad guy that you could elevate him if you need to in a pinch to play some corner. But the guy that I really like is DeAndre Prince. I mean, I really like him. I mean, just watch him. If you get a chance and you go back and you get an opportunity to watch him on the field, he runs so effortless and covers guys like it's not a big deal. I think he's a special talent. I think this is going to be, and I've never said this about a corner, but when has this team ever drafted a late-round pick corner that has hit? I mean, it doesn't happen very often.
Mm-hmm.
I think this might be the guy, and I'm hopeful. Because, look, you've hit on other positions in the past in the late-round picks, I mean, heck, you look at what Telvin Smith was a fifth-round pick. Mm-hmm. I think DeAndre Prince could end up being this late-round pick corner that, you go, wow, this guy
future
turned out
starter,
to be pretty good.
That's how you see him, maybe by, next year, a couple years down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I would, as long as I keep his focus small, in other words, I ask him to play one position, I'd feel good about playing him even this year. As long as I'm keeping him at that one position where, I'm not trying to have him play nickel and play dime and just let him get comfortable at playing corner, I probably would be comfortable with playing him this year if all of a sudden we had an injury to Darby. Put Prince out there. Let's go.
So right now, you think they feel that way? Like week 1, Darby twists an ankle in the first quarter. Is Prince
I don't know if
on
they
the field?
feel that way, but from what I've seen, and look, I may be wrong on this guy, but he just has a skill set that can't be coached. He has a physical skill set that's special. His hips and his speed. There's a lot of guys that when they cover a guy, they got to play a lot of off coverage because they're worried about the guy running by him. This guy doesn't play off because he doesn't care, because he can run, and he can run like nobody's business. I mean, he's legit 4.2, 4.3. I mean, he's smoking fast. But he's athletic, and he's got great hips, and it's not very common. A lot of times you see a guy that runs fast, but it's straight line speed, and he can't change direction. DeAndre Prince has got some nice hips.
Why did he go so late in the draft?
I don't know. It's a great question. Great question. I mean, a lot of guys play at school and have a little exposure and maybe end up getting kind of behind. They're late developers, late bloomers. I mean, there's a lot of different reasons that could cause that. Maybe he wasn't a highly touted recruit coming out of high school and just bloomed late. I don't know. But he's a guy that, I'm not trying to say that he's going to be an all-pro material. I just say that, if you find a corner in the 5th round, because how many picks have we dedicated to corner position in the 6th and 7th round over the last couple of years? A lot of them. How many have hit? Have any of them hit? So I think this is a guy that could hit.
All right, we'll get more into it with Jeff Lageman coming up here on a Check the Tape Tuesday, including the NFLPA shot down the idea of the third quarterback not being necessarily part of the 53-man roster. So if you're going to have a third quarterback on game day, he does need to be part of the 53. Now, he can be elevated from the practice squad, but you can only do that a certain amount of time. So we'll get into the quarterback room with C.J. Beathard and his future here in Jacksonville. Coming up next, among other things, 641-1010 on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines or on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. If you've got a question for Jeff Lageman, bring it to us on a Check the Tape Tuesday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
For the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL. 1010XL takes you behind the microphone.
Are you crying? There's no crying. You wake up in the morning, you say, I put on my big boy pants.
Dan Hicken and Jeff Prosser.
And you know why? What? No crying.
Mornings on 1010XL.
Because there's no crying.
What makes a Honda certified pre-owned vehicle so special? 182-point inspection, 24/7 roadside assistance, first-year free oil changes, and a 7-year, 100,000-mile warranty for carefree driving backed by American Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today.
It's the end of summer sale with Renewal by Anderson, energy-efficient, custom-built replacement windows and doors. Save $300 on every window and $825 on all patio doors. Plus, 0 down, no payments, and no interest for 12 months. But restrictions apply, and this offer expires August 31st. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit rbafla.com for details.
License number CGC 1527613.
You don't have to be a football star to get a signing bonus. The team at Republic Services needs your skills, and they're paying up to $5,000 for you to join the roster. You'll be joining a winner. As an essential business, the Republic Services trucks have not stopped rolling with hourly and weekly pay and better benefits and vacation packages than the rest of the league. Driver trainees, $1,000 sign-on bonus. CDL drivers, $3,000. Diesel mechanics, $5,000 bonus. Join the winning team at Republic Services today. Visit republicservices.com.
Equal opportunity employer.
Thermal Engineers is hiring. Thermal Engineers is a commercial HVAC contractor serving North Florida for over 20 years. Qualified technicians and installers. How does top pay, 401k, and full benefits sound? And a signing bonus. Is it time for a positive change in your career? Join the family-oriented commercial HVAC contractor at Thermal Engineers. Call 230-1172 or go to Thermal Engineers, Inc., an equal opportunity employer.
Hey, it's Tony from Tony D's Pizza. If you love our pizza and pasta dishes, let us cater an event for you. Family function or office parties, we can deliver you an amazing Italian meal. Remember, it's not just pizza at Tony D's. Bay Meadows and $2.95.
You don't think this would be a good moment to text somebody?
There's never a bad moment to share your opinion on the 1010XL text line. Designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Share your opinion
as soon as possible
at 641-1010.
Attention skilled electricians, are you undervalued at your current company? Time to step up to the bigger projects and better opportunities. Join the team at Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering not just a job, but an experienced, top-notch pay, unbeatable benefits, and the best working environments in the business. Please join the team that values your skills and rewards your hard work. Elevate your career to new heights. Apply today at millercareers.com, an equal opportunity employer.
Raid wants to know, what would you do if you could confidently face every day knowing you and your loved ones are protected? Would you sing along to your favorite song at the top of your lungs? Turn off the GPS and let your heart do the guiding. Go to the drive-thru and order one of everything. Feel the buzz of confidence of knowing you are protected with 65 years of insect science in your hands. Raid. Protection for everyone.
If you're tired of your fence looking like a bad hair day, well, it's time for a fence makeover with Superior Fence and Rail. They'll make your yard the talk of the town with a new fence installed by their expert team.
Your fence is fantastic. My fence is giving all of my neighbors some serious pick and envy. Thanks, Superior Fence and Rail.
So get off the fence and call Superior Fence and Rail for your fence installation project today.
SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Jumbo Shrimp Baseball presented by FIS is home at 1-to-1 Financial Ballpark. Tonight is Everbank Teacher Appreciation. Tomorrow is Buy Star Good as Everywhere Wednesday. And don't miss Coors Light Thirsty Thursday. The Weekend of Boom features fireworks Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Baseball all week and weekend. Tickets start at just $5. JackShrimp.com for tickets. Jumbo Shrimp Baseball. Affordable family fun.
Does the building you go to work in every day need a little love and attention? Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Great companies take great care of the buildings their staff and customers walk into every day. If the building you're in doesn't match the vision you have for your company, we can help. Go to performance-painting.com. Our highly trained team makes the difference. Quality coatings applied with pride.
Performance Painting. David Ammon here with Zero Res. So Ammon, your mom mentioned it's been a year since we did a complete house cleaning. The kitchen tile and living room floors are looking pretty dingy. It's time to call Zero Res.
That's right. Most folks know that Zero Res does an amazing job at cleaning their carpets and rugs, but they don't know that Zero Res can clean their tile and grout, LVP, and wood floors.
And right now, Zero Res is offering 25% off all hard floor cleaning. Zero Res,
spelled forward or backwards, it's the right way to clean.
CERO. Zero Res.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Check the Tape Tuesday with Jeff Lageman is brought to you by Napa Auto Care on 1010XL.
I got about 35 minutes to go here with Jeff Lageman on a Check the Tape Tuesday. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark here with you. Logs, just one follow-up talking about DeAndre Prince. Officially, 4.3840 was his 40 time. Somebody said, come on, Logs, 4.2. What are we talking about?
I don't know. All I can tell you is he looks like he's 4.2 when he's on film.
All right, well, he's a legit sub 4.4 guy, as is Brian Thomas Jr. So another person asked, have you seen them match up on the practice field, and how did Prince do?
Have not seen it directly, but that would be a great matchup, I can tell you.
I'd be curious, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because Brian Thomas seems to be running by everybody out there.
Yeah, he's so fast. I mean, he's another effortless runner, and I can't wait to get to the regular season just to see what they're going to cook up with him, in the play action, because – I think his contribution is not going to be that of like a number one wide receiver, but his impact is going to be felt because the plays that he's going to get are going to be extremely impactful. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if, his yards per catch is, in that 17-plus range, for the bulk of the season, just because they're going to be hitting him on some big plays.
We've heard a lot about 4-2-5 alignment, right? We'll see a lot of two linebackers and basically nickel defense, right? So somebody asked on the text line, would it ever make sense to run like a 5-2? And this is just like how, more to illustrate how he gets so locked in on a certain guy's name, right? He goes, have Walker and Allen at the ends, and inside have Armstead, Hamilton, and Harris. And I'm like, who's Harris? Oh, Roy Robertson Harris. Like, I don't think of him as Harris.
Yeah, you can't.
At all.
Yeah, it's Robertson Harris.
Right. So that went straight over my head.
Now, you could ask, there was a head coach that used to be here that used to call him all kinds of names.
Roy Roberts. Roy Roberts. What about Roy Robertson Harris, just as a general rule? How does he fit into the whole picture here?
He's still a very powerful player that I think that can help this football team. And he's active. And he, I think, is one of the better defensive tackle pass rushers that we have on the roster here. So there's a role for him. And, again, he's, much like Eric Armstead's working his way back from injury, Roy kind of in a similar role, but just more advanced in the stages of recovery because he's working his way back from being in the boot in the offseason with that, ankle Achilles injury that he had.
Can he play end?
Roy? You probably could. And, he'd play end in, like, a short yardage situation. Mm-hmm. He could play big end. I don't think there'd be an issue with that, having him play big end if a team was, like, running a 4-minute drill on offense. Just because he's a big, strong dude.
All right. He listed at 6'5", 290, but as we talked about last week, who knows?
Bigger than that.
Right. Who knows if where they are on those kind of height, weight. The height shouldn't
He's bigger
change.
than what he was last year.
Yeah.
I think. From just the eye test, he looks bigger than last year.
All right, why don't we do this? So we got more for Jeff Lageman, including the quarterback room, but let's let Tony Smith take us around the rest of the NFL.
Now, Gems Around the NFL, brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
The Tennessee Titans are trading quarterback Malik Willis to the Green Bay Packers for a 2025 7th-round pick. Titans linebacker Chance Campbell is out for the year because of a torn ACL he suffered on Sunday in the team's preseason finale. And what could be a further explanation of Seattle's interest in trading for Trevis Gibson yesterday? Seattle outside linebacker Uchenna Nwosu is expected to start the season on injured reserve there for the Seahawks. The Dallas Cowboys and wide receiver CeeDee Lamb got a 4-year, $136 million deal done. The deal includes $38 million in a signing bonus and $100 million guaranteed over those 4 years. The Denver Broncos are expected to release running back Samaje Perine today, but Ian Rappaport reported yesterday that the Broncos are involved with trade conversations around Perine, so a deal could get done before today's 4 p.m. deadline. Detroit running back Jahmyr Gibbs and tight end Sam Laporta, who are both dealing with hamstring injuries, were able to return to practice for the Lions on Sunday. Pittsburgh running back Jaylen Warren told reporters on Monday that he expects to be good to go for Week 1 as he works through a hamstring injury, and the NFLPA rejected a potential rule change on Monday regarding teams' emergency third quarterbacks that would have allowed an emergency third quarterback to come from the practice squad with an unlimited number of call-ups. The rule in effect this year will be the same that was in effect last season. An emergency third quarterback must be on the 53-man roster or is one of 2 standard elevations per week. An elevated quarterback would have to be active for the game rather than in the emergency role. A player can be activated 3 times a year.
All right, Tony, we'll get to that momentarily. Somebody sent me a clip of Brian Thomas scoring a touchdown in college over DeAndre Prince. Nice little route. It wasn't like a deep shot necessarily, but nice little route to the corner of the end zone. And
red zone.
Yeah. It was pretty good route, pretty good catch. And Prince
was the coverage
in decent position, I thought. But didn't have his head turned around, and Brian Thomas able to go up and get it.
Was he trying to time the hands? DeAndre timing hands?
I have to go back and check it out again because this is just continued to roll along. Let me see here as it rolls here. We'll see if he tried to shoot the late hands here, Logs, and break things up. I think he tried to take a peek back. He never got the hands up at all. Never got the hands up. So maybe that's why the Jags were able to get him when they got him.
Yeah, maybe.
You never know. All right, so Tony just laid it out. The NFL owners wanted it so that you could have an extra spot on the roster for a third quarterback on game day. The NFLPA said, no, we're not going to do that. If you do that, you can put him on the 53-man roster. That's fine. Or you can elevate him from the practice squad, but you can only do that 3 times throughout the course of the year. How do you think the Jaguars, obviously, Trevor, Mac Jones, boom. first and second, right? How do they handle C.J. Beathard? Let's presume they waive him today. He clears waivers. What happens then?
I think that you could consider bringing C.J. back at some point to the practice squad if you feel that way. I mean, you could end up having.
Do you think there's a benefit just to having him around? Because we talked a lot about, he's a great sounding board for Trevor, for instance.
Yes, and I mean, a lot of the times that stuff can be overblown. I mean, Trevor doesn't need a babysitter anymore. I mean, that's kind of what that role, when you have a young quarterback, a lot of times you feel like, okay, let's keep a veteran quarterback around to help raise him, like Chad Penny did with Patrick Mahomes. And now that Patrick Mahomes is clearly doesn't need babysitting anymore, and then it was Blaine Gabbert. Now it's the guy that was in Philly, back up in Kansas City now.
Wentz.
Thank you. So, I mean, Trevor's fine. He doesn't need CJ in the room to be able to flourish. But at some point, you definitely would consider having a third quarterback on the practice squad to be able to elevate him. And if CJ has an injury settlement or is waived injured, however that works, I think there's a period of time after the settlement kind of like, let's say they pay him for 6 weeks or whatever.
Right, could bring him back immediately.
Yeah, you got to wait a couple weeks after that.
And he wouldn't be subjected to waivers anyway. Like a team because he's a vet. Team could sign him right away if they wanted to. I can't imagine there's going to be a robust market for C.J. Beathard. You never know. I mean, Malik Willis drew a draft pick. Did you see this? This is funny to me. I didn't check to make sure this is all true, so I'm going to take this as gospel. Okay, pass it along. Always a good idea to do on live radio. Sean Clifford was the backup in Green Bay.
Okay.
In college at Penn State, he beat out Will Levis, forcing Will Levis to transfer. Okay. Will Levis comes to Tennessee, easily passes Malik Willis on the depth chart. Now he's a starter in Tennessee. Malik Willis gets traded to Green Bay, where they're probably going to move on from Sean Clifford to make Malik Willis the backup. It's just like, and people were responding, well, basically the NFL is a different game and you're looking for different things. And I don't doubt that.
It is.
It's just interesting. A beat B, B beat C, and C is going to come around and beat A, apparently, on the pecking order, on the depth chart. So.
Yeah, the NFL is a very different game than college. I mean, it really is. And so different kind of game. As far as passing and knowledge and intricacies, and the athleticism of college sometimes can overpower the game, and not necessarily in the NFL.
All right, Lugs, let's come back. We got a few more here stacked up for you, and so let's hit the break on time. And got a good one just came in on the text line that we will get to coming up, talking about pass rush and a guy we discussed a little bit yesterday. So if you want to get in, still time at 641-1010 on the All-Pro Roofing on the Garber Auto Mall phone lines, and on the text line designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Almost went old school on you right there. Or hit us up on social media. Keep them coming in that way. Jeff Lageman's in on a Check the Tape Tuesday. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Hey, school's in session, and here's today's lesson. We have hundreds of certified vehicles to choose from, starting as low as $89.99. Plus, they come with a 7-year, 100,000-mile peace of mind warranty and free oil changes. That means you and your soon-to-be drivers will be protected. Plus, every purchase allows us to fund teachers' projects for the entire school year. Your next assignment, get to Beaver Toyota in St. Augustine or Beaver Chevrolet in Jacksonville. Deadline August 31st. We're here to wow you and our teachers.
Former Jaguars corner and first-year head football coach at Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows, K-12, Aaron Beasley here. Are you looking for an A-rated K-12 school prioritizing academics, arts, and athletics? Duval Charter School at Bay Meadows offers a rigorous curriculum to develop strong minds with an additional focus on growing good hearts. DCSB has been an A school for 8 years, and our tuition is free. Now enrolling. Apply at baymeadowscharter.org.
Pick it here for Bout 9 Associates, where you'll find Jacksonville's most esteemed eye doctors at each of their locations. After being selected for one of the most competitive ophthalmology fellowships in the world, Dr. Frank Bowden is frequently called upon for his expert opinion. He is currently one of the few cornea and external disease specialists in the area and the founder of Bout 9. Visit Bout 9 Associates today and experience the difference. Bout 9 Associates, keeping the First Coast focused.
Calling all fans of Duval to downtown Las Vegas during the game against the Silver and Black. This is Lauren Brooks from Helmets and Heels. Join us at Circa Resort and Casino this December for the Jacksonville Game Day Getaway featuring an incredible all-in package. Get a 3-night stay at Circa, $200 food and beverage credit, plus a day bed at Stadium Swim. With 6 temperature-controlled pools and a massive screen, it's the world's largest hot tub party. The all-in package is only available until August 30th, so act now. To book and to join the Heels in Vegas, visit circalasvegas.com today.
Veterans, did you know VA mortgage rates have plummeted and you can now access up to 100% of your home's equity and turn that into cash right now? Hey, it's Roger Moore, President and CEO of Loan Pronto, announcing our VA Equity Advantage program. This VA offer can get you $50,000, $70,000, $100,000 cash out with no junk fees and no hassle, with APRs in the 5s. You can pay off all those credit cards, personal loans, car loans, and get one easy-to-manage payment. Veterans we help save on average $850 per month. And listen, if you're a veteran with a current mortgage rate over 6.25%, we can do a streamlined refinance with no income verification and no appraisal, saving you hundreds a month. At Loan Pronto, we respect what you've done for our country, and we show it. Call now and ask about our special VA Equity Advantage program. 904-999-1508. 904-999-1508. LoanPronto.com. 904-999-1508.
Equal housing lender. NMLS 166-1781. Subject to lender approval. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org.
College football is coming. Celebrating another season of college football.
This should be fun to watch.
1010XL's college kickoff coverage is brought to you by Jenkins Genesis of Northeast Florida and Island Oaks RV Park.
Let's do it on 1010XL.
Come on. Oh, no. No.
You okay in there?
Toilet's backed up. It won't flush.
Okay, I'll call the pros.
The tank isn't filling. The handle does nothing. Run for your life.
Don't be so dramatic. Duck Duck Rooter will fix it.
For any plumbing issue, call Duck Duck Rooter, your local plumbing professionals and proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. DuckDuckRooter.com.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
When storms start to crop up in the Atlantic or Gulf this time of year, having a solid plan to handle anything that sweeps through the First Coast is very important. That's where American Electrical comes in. Ensure your home's safety and comfort with an American Electrical home generator. As the area's leading home generator dealer and installer, American Electrical can offer you easy installation, simple maintenance, and peace of mind. Schedule an assessment by simply calling the team at American Electrical. They'll walk you through the best generator for your home or business. Log on, american-electrical.com.
Lauren Brooks here. If you're in pain and you think you've tried everything, I've got a solution for you. The team at Active Health Jax treats the source of the problem, not just the pain, so you can avoid surgery, cortisone injections, and pain medications. I've had neck aches for years, and I've tried everything from acupunctures to massages with no results. Within minutes of my evaluation and treatment, the tension was gone. It was amazing. Active Health Jax can help you too. Give them a call at 904-296-0202 today or visit them online at activehealthjax.com.
At the First Coast YMCA, you'll find much more than just a gym. We offer many ways to help you be active, reach weight loss goals, and find your inner strength while you connect with your community. Family memberships at the Y include unlimited group exercise classes, childcare while you work out, and youth sports participation. It's easy to join the Y and affordable for all. Plus, the Y is a great place to meet a new circle of friends. Visit the Y near you or online at fcymca.org.
Are tomatoes a fruit or a vegetable? The answer next.
We all know that saving money on items like homeowners insurance can be done. Ask your agent about the new Southern Oak Insurance deductible options. It'll save money for you.
Our family protecting yours. Southern Oak Insurance.
Although classified as a vegetable by U.S. Customs and Border Protection, tomatoes are actually a fruit, since they're technically berries that develop from a single flower.
Southern Oak Insurance. Our family protecting yours.
This is Dr. Michael Iorio, internal medicine physician for your Jacksonville Jaguars. Here's the latest update on the Jaguars, brought to you by Baptist Health and JOI.
Linebacker Trayvon Walker was originally drafted by the Jags in the first round of the 2022 draft and started 17 games last season, recording 52 tackles and 10 sacks, is expected to play a key piece in the Jags defense. Coach Doug Peterson spoke on what he's seen so far from Walker.
You're seeing a guy that is like a sponge. I mean, he's eating up, all the coaching points, and it's really has been beneficial to him on the field. You're seeing his length show up. You're seeing his power and explosiveness show up, and just continues to get better. Each week just continues to improve, and you see his speed, that athleticism, on tape, and the physicality part of it, I think, shows up. So he's done a really nice job.
Sound courtesy of Jaguars.com. I'm Molly McDonald with your Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute Jaguars update.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, it's cooling down before it heats up today with the 4 o'clock release of a bunch of players from every team around the National Football League. Cuts kind of leaking out, but nothing official except for the trade, Trevis Gibson yesterday. But these are the things that are going to go down. And then you have, I think it's a 2-day period to put in claims is what it is.
I'm not sure how long.
I want to say it's 2 days because there's so many players you got to sort through.
I think it's 1 day because they can start setting the practice squads on Wednesday. So I think it's only 24 hours.
Is it? I
might be wrong.
I could have sworn it was 2, but either way, they know, hopefully. Logs from Jim in the YouTube chat here. Best guess as to the amount of Jags will be temporary. In other words, how many claims when all these players become available, how many spots on the end of the Jags 53-man roster really need to be sweating it out?
Not many. I really believe that they feel good about their roster. I mean, I would say 1, maybe 2 at best, to where they could claim somebody and swap somebody out. And that's, I don't know if I would consider that very likely, but I mean, at the most 2.
Okay. Where would they do that? Like, if there is a position where you think that might happen, where would it be?
Well, again, I'll go to that corner spot. I mean, could you end up being there? That could be a spot. Safety could be a spot because, you're a little light there and you've got an injury with Daniel Thomas. You'd have to have somebody you feel really good about because you got, Wingard and Tashawn as possibilities. Edge could also be a possibility, to where you could hang on to. Here's the one thing to remember, too, that a lot of people don't realize. I mean, once the cuts are made at 4 o'clock today, you're not getting paid until you're on the roster next week, okay? So there's a lot of roster massaging that can happen between today and next week.
Noon tomorrow, by the way. 20 hours, not even a full day.
Yeah.
You get to put them in.
For waiver claims.
For waiver claims, yes.
But, for example, let's say, Tony, you and Mike both make the team today. Okay, and you're celebrating. Woohoo!
Congratulations,
Tony. Hey, well, we made it. We made it. Well, they could cut you tomorrow or Thursday or Friday or Saturday or Sunday or Monday, okay, or Tuesday, and you won't get paid. You're not on the team. Until you are actually with the team on Wednesday, I believe it is next week, then you're going to get a game check, but not until that point. So, again, there's a lot that can happen between now and next week.
Mike on YouTube asking, why don't they just do away with practice squads and up the roster to like 60?
Costs more money.
Absolutely, right? Like those guys in the practice squad are making a lot less. Yeah. So, it's the same pie. And let's say there's $1 billion out there. The owners get $500 million. The players get $500 million, roughly. So divide that $500 million by 32 teams, and that's what you have to spend. That's your salary cap. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't grow just because the roster grows, right? I mean, so you've got to find a way to pay these guys NFL-size salaries. So, yes, you could do that, and you could pay everybody a bunch of more minimum salary guys, but that money's got to come from somewhere. Yeah. So, some of those bigger contracts, and I don't see those shrinking anytime soon.
And you wonder if the NFLPA shot down the extra roster spot for a quarterback just because of the salary cap implications that would have on some of the players that are currently under contract.
Right. If you're keeping a third quarterback, you're probably paying him more than league minimum, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's, something to think about.
Where's that money got to come from if that is the case? All right, let's see what else we got here. Logs. Anybody else that we haven't talked about? This is from Jason. Basically, anybody who's flashed in the preseason that maybe could be a surprise addition to the 53?
No, I don't think so. I think we kind of we got it. I mean, there's nothing, no secrets.
Is Austin Trammell going to make the practice squad? Like if he clears waivers?
If he makes it through waivers, yes.
They like him. What happened with Joshua Cephas? Anything? People brought that up. There was a lot of buzz in the offseason and then nothing when you got to training camp, basically.
Yeah, it is what it is. You got to flash at some point. You got to flash in practice. You got to flash in games. And here's the reality. A lot of times you get a player that doesn't flash, especially at that position, because the quarterback play sometimes late in preseason games can be pretty poor. Well, that wasn't the case here, okay? You had some pretty good quarterback play throughout the preseason.
This from Irish Diplomacy. I think we know this is going to be an aggressive defensive approach. You see it becoming a pants-on-fire aggressive level with people coming from everywhere to the ball, exotic blitzing and the whole?
No. I mean, look, the best defenses are the ones that can bring 4 and then play coverage behind it. I mean, that in a perfect world, that's what you want to do. I mean, in a perfect world, to be real, a 3-man rush that kicks a lot of butt, then you can put 8 in the coverage would be even better. But
and
usually doesn't happen.
Look, we've gotten used to what we've seen for the last several years here. We haven't seen the Jags play a whole lot with their corners at the line of scrimmage with even the possibility of pressing anybody, right? It's just not been the style of defense they've played a whole lot of. I expect that to be part of the defensive plan this year. And I can see fans seeing or hearing that and saying, oh, we're aggressive this year. It's like we're more aggressive in that aspect than they've been in a while here in Jacksonville, but that doesn't mean they got to be blitz happy on top of that.
No, and look, you can be aggressive and still line up in off coverage. It's just a matter of how you're attacking the routes. I can tell you this, you're not going to Miami week 1 and lining up in press coverage across the board. It ain't happening, okay? You got to have a little sensibility about what you're doing. And Miami's got some incredible speed, 2 at wide receiver and then a couple of them at running back that can run still like the wind. So, yeah, look, there's different ways to play. And the best defenses play the best defense for that game. That's what made Bill Belichick so damn good, is that he would just play different playbooks week in and week out, but he would try to take away the best things that you do. And he could accomplish it in different ways. And so it was, I don't want to say a chameleon defense, but it was flexible. And the best defenses are the ones that can line up and play differently, whatever it takes to win week in and week out. And you hope that Ryan Nielsen and Chris Richard, who is his sidekick, that those 2 guys can come up with some great plans.
Who are you most excited about based on what you saw this preseason?
To be honest with you, Mike, if you can't get excited about your quarterback, then you're really not excited at all. And I'm excited about Trevor. Really am. I think he's spinning the ball as good as I've ever seen him throw it. And I'm talking day in and day out. People all started going back to the first couple practices of camp, and we're totally overreacting. But, man, you dial in on what he's done and the amount of plays that he's played and in practice. Towards the end here, he's really tightened it up. It's looking good. I'm excited about him. And one of the big reasons I'm excited about him is the way he's spinning it, but also I believe the mindset's changing on offense to where the 3-point stance, the focus on running the ball, the weapons that he has. I think this is one of the deepest weapon rooms, or whatever you want to call them, that there's been in Jaguars history. You go back to Keenan and Jimmy and Fred, and that was special now. I'm not saying that you're at that level, but you're getting close to that when you look at the number of weapons at skill position that they have across the board. To me, it's exciting.
How big a year is Brian Thomas Jr. in store for?
Well, if I had put numbers on it, he may end up having, 35, 40 catches, somewhere in that range, but they're going to be big plays. And I think his impact is going to be felt. Defensive coordinators, when they see what he can do, I think are going to be really cautious about how they play him, and they know that he can run by people. So when you have 2 guys that can run by people, you have a tendency to play a little bit deeper with your safety, and that's going to open up a lot of stuff underneath for Christian, for Evan, for Parker Washington, for Bigsby, for ETN, and it makes it easier for Trevor. When you stretch a defense, for the whole purpose of making the amount of space that they've got to cover more for each individual. and it makes it harder for those defenders, and it makes it easier for the quarterback to end up having windows that become larger because of the stretched coverage.
Is he better as a route runner already,
Brian,
than you expected him to be at this early on?
No, he's about what I expected.
Okay.
The one thing about Brian that I always respected is that, the amount of vetting that they did with him. He's a high character guy, comes from good background, hardworking, all of those things, quiet, about his business, but then has the ability to, and you've seen he's elevating his play when it comes to game day. Trevor talked about that last week. That's the thing that excites me about him is he a great route runner yet? No. But I don't know if there really are many great route runners that just come out and are ready to go. And Jordan Jefferson, probably one of the, or not Jordan Jefferson, but Jefferson in Minnesota is arguably the best route runner at an early age that I've ever seen. But Brian will get better in time, and he's got a great room, got a great teacher, and got a lot of vets, really experienced vets to learn from, and that's a really good situation to have. When you've got a real consistent room with strong leadership in each room for a young player, that's the ultimate environment.
Somebody on the text line here said, NFL Today this weekend said that Atlanta's defense was terrible last year, and the new defensive coordinator will make them better. Well, Atlanta was 11th in total defense last year. They were 8th against the pass, which were significant improvements from when Ryan Nielsen got there, right? So in 1 year, he took them from the dregs to top 8 against the pass. They were 20th against the run, but you got to factor in personnel as well. And, they've added a lot of pieces on defense this offseason that weren't there last year. Most people hail the job Ryan Nielsen did with the Atlanta Falcons. I didn't hear this comment on NFL Today. That sounds to me like somebody who casually looked at something that doesn't really know what they're talking about. The numbers are the numbers. They're number 8 against the pass of any team in the NFL.
That happens a lot more than people think.
Absolutely it does. It really does. That's top quarter of the league. And you want to be, look, you don't want to get it run down your throat, obviously, but I'd rather be stronger against the pass in today's NFL than I am against the run. And
passing league.
I think they've got a lot of bodies to be a good run defense. Were they a good run defense in the preseason, in your opinion?
Atlanta?
No, the Jags.
I thought they were good in the preseason. Not great, but part of the reason I think that they weren't great is because they're playing so many different guys and different combinations. I think once they get into the regular season, they'll be able to kind of dial in a little bit of that. But that impacts it a lot when they had that focus on playing so many guys and at different times and combinations that, it's a little bit of a work in progress, but the discipline is there, and I think that they've got some personnel to be able to be really good against the run.
All right, a couple more minutes here with Jeff Lageman as we wrap up a Check the Tape Tuesday. Jags don't have a game, obviously, coming up this weekend. In the meantime, Dylan, let's get ready to wrap this one up.
Now, the 2-minute drill, brought to you by Injury Care Centers, the exclusive provider of BioTarget regenerative therapy for pain. Visit GoBioTarget.com for a location near you.
All right, 1010XL's favorite newlywed. You're still a newlywed.
Yes,
Lauren
I would
Brooks.
call it that.
How long do you get to be a new? Is it your whole first year? I think you had to be married less than 2 years to be on the newlywed game back in the day.
Ah,
yeah.
Well, that's a good standard.
Maybe that is a good standard. So congratulations, newlywed. So what do you got cooking today? Helmets and Heels coming up at noon.
Yeah, we'll do a lot of what y'all have been doing, talking about the potential cuts or at least reported cuts for the Jaguars. I want to talk about the Jags defense and as you watched, I'm sure, Mike, on Saturday, how Georgia Tech and their defense's approach to Florida State changed as the game went on. Obviously, the defensive coordinator that's new there to Tech did a great job. How does that translate to the Jags? How does that translate also to Florida when you talk about Florida-Miami coming up on Saturday? And we'll talk to Adam Lichtenstein down in Coral Gables and talk about that Florida-Miami game on Saturday. Looking forward to that one.
All right, LB, have a great show.
Thank you.
Appreciate you stopping by. Helmets and Heels
game
coming your way.
Huge game. Yeah.
Miami, Florida.
Yeah.
What time? What time is that?
3:30. You start with Clemson, Georgia at noon, and then Miami, Florida at 3:30.
What's the night game on Saturday?
There's two different ones. There's USC, LSU in Las Vegas. There's also
Sunday.
Notre Dame at Texas A&M.
Okay.
We're told that's Sunday.
LSU,
That's
USC is
LSU game Sunday.
So the big game Saturday night. What's that? That's the only one I want to.
Oh, okay.
LSU, USC. Is that Sunday
That
night?
must be Sunday night. Okay. And then Monday night is FSU and Boston College.
All right.
Got a little something all weekend long for you.
I like it.
I'm not going to sit in front of a TV on the weekend during the day. At night I will, but not during the day.
College football will get Jeff's attention for week 1.
That's about it.
Yeah, I will. I will not watch much football at all this weekend. It's the last free mental weekend I have for a long, long time. So I'm going to enjoy it from that standpoint.
There you go.
LB, have a great show.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Logs, what do you got coming up this week?
Whole lot of prep for deer season. How about that?
Oh, all right. Fantastic. Let me ask you, just end on this note, and we can delve into this deeper next week. Obviously, we'll see what the actual 53-man roster looks like. At that point, we'll see who's healthy, trending into the Miami game. Which side of the ball, putting special teams aside, you feel better about the offense or the defense?
This year?
Right now.
This Trevor and the offense. I feel really good about them.
Okay.
Really do.
I think
I'm
a lot of
excited
people
to
felt
watch.
the other way going into training camp because they were concerned about the offensive line.
I think they're going to be fine. And maybe I'm the eternal optimist, and no, I don't have my teal glasses on right now. But just some of the signs that I've seen and some of the depth that they haven't had in the past, I think they're going to be okay up front.
All right, that'll do it for us today on a Check the Tape Tuesday. We won't have fresh tape to check, but we'll preview Jags Miami next Tuesday with Jeff Lageman and a whole lot more to come. Johnny O will swing by tomorrow. Mike DiRocco on Thursday. Tom McManus on Friday as we continue to march towards the start of the 2024 NFL season for Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark and Jeff Lageman. I'm Mike Dempsey. Thank you for listening to Jaguars Today. We'll be back tomorrow from 10 to noon here on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
You're at